Hi YouTube, I'm coming to you guys with a really quick video regarding the admissions process for the school that I was accepted to and taking the HESI exam. So the school, so basically the first step was that I attended an information session or open house about the school just to find out about the program, find out about its structure, ask any questions that I needed to ask, everything like that. After that, I was scheduled for a general IQ exam. It's one of those exams where you just want to get through as many questions as possible in order to get a high, in order to better your chance of getting a higher score. I believe it's only a 12-minute exam, something like that. So the program basically has like a certain required score. You have a certain required minimum score. So you have to either achieve that score or exceed it. I ended up exceeding the score, so I was then permitted to register for the HESI exam. Once I registered, I purchased two books, the HESI A2 Assessment Review, the third edition, and that's actually by HESI, and I purchased an ACT exam book. I got an English and composition book because I needed to work on my grammar, and that book kind of emphasized grammar a lot. So that was really the only section of that book that I used, but for me, it was actually extremely beneficial. Um, the school that I was taking the HESI for only required the English and the math sections of the HESI, which was really nice. So I only had to study for those two. The English consisted of reading comprehension, grammar, and vocabulary. I actually scored at 88% in reading comp, a 90% in grammar, and a 98% in vocab, which gave me an overall 92% for the English. And then the math, I scored a 90%. So overall, my HESI exam score is a 91.50. The math section, I really only used the HESI exam book. It was mostly fractions, ratios, different things like that, but it was really repetitive and it was a lot of the same things over and over again, which was actually really, it's good if you get it. It's not so good if you were kind of banking on there being other types of questions. Um, and then the English, the vocab, I kind of like, you know, that vocabulary for me was a little easier. I cannot say if it was really based out of the book. Honestly, I don't remember it clearly enough because I took the exam back in March. So I can't really go into too much detail about, the exam itself. Just overall, I remember the grammar part. The ACT book helped me exponentially with the grammar because the HESI exam book didn't really have as much of the grammar that I needed. So that's why I purchased the other book. After taking the HESI and passing the HESI, I had a meeting with the program director or president of the program. Then I had to fill out all of my I apologize. When I took the HESI and I passed the HESI, at that time I submitted my application to be considered for a space at the school. I was then scheduled for a meeting with the president of the program. After that, I believe I had to submit all of my health forms, take a CPR class, but I was already registered. So I submitted that as part of my application and pretty much just wait for a decision. So I waited until I knew I was accepted to do all of the health forms. I guess they gave the forms just so that you could get everything done beforehand, just in case. But I just decided to wait on the decision just to see if I was going to be accepted before going through all of that. I took a drug test. I had to do a full background screening and a physical to make sure I had all my titers, and I had the PPD and all sorts of different stuff. The majority of the things I was already up to date with, due to the fact that I did the CNA program, and I had to get all of that stuff done for the internship portion of it, where I was actually in a nursing home. So, yeah, but that was pretty much the admissions process. Luckily, the school that I applied to didn't have as their deadline to apply for the program was later than other programs. So I started the process in maybe February when I went to the open house, and I got my acceptance in July. So it was just kind of like, February I went for that. I took the the IQ exam in February. I was registered for the HESI in March. I met with the program director in April, and then May I just kind of waited. June I just waited, and I found out in July, or I found out at the very end of June. Sorry, I found out at the end of June that I was accepted. And yeah, so that was pretty much it. So for me, as I said, just to kind of reiterate, the math for the HESI, the math book, I'm sorry, the math for the HESI exam book was enough for me, because it just literally went over fractions and ratios, and that was the exam. And then the English, um, the English grammar section, the ACT book helped me a lot. Honestly, I don't think I would have passed the grammar part. I may have passed, but I definitely would not have done as well. I definitely wouldn't have gotten in the 90 percentile, doing it just based out of the HESI exam book. So it's actually called if any of you are interested, it's the English and Reading Workout for the ACT, third edition, and it's by Princeton Review. I'm going to attach a link. I think I purchased it from Amazon, so I'm just going to attach an Amazon link for that book, and then for the HESI admission assessment exam review, which was also the third edition, and that's by HESI. So I'm going to attach links for both those books below, just in case anyone's actually interested and would like to try those books out. Yeah, I was, blessed enough that I studied a couple weeks before the exam, and I was able to pass it my first try, with really good scores. So I was actually really, really happy and really proud of myself. The math part, was what I was most worried about, math and then the grammar. So I really did every question from the first question in the math section to the very, very last. I went through everything. Even if I thought I knew it, I went through everything. I retaught myself everything. I refreshed myself with everything. I didn't want to take anything for granted. I had the material there to study, so why not study it? And my goal was to get as good of a score as I could. So not studying as hard as I studied would have definitely gotten me a lower score, or I potentially might not have passed the section. There were multiple students that were, on their second attempt of the HESI. I'm not sure if there were third attempts, but I know that there were definitely people there for their second attempts, just taking, whatever section it was that they kind of lacked in the first time. And I didn't really, want to have to go through that because it was really stressful studying for it. I used to just study anytime I had downtime. So any moment I could, I carried the book around with me. I made sure I went through it all the time. I used to write my conversions over and over and over and over and over again. And the grammar part of the ACT book, I literally I rewrote it, just to make sure everything stuck, every single rule, everything. So yeah, it was a bit stressful, especially when I felt like I didn't quite understand everything, especially in the grammar section. I'm pretty good with English, but it was just some of the rules, I was like, I don't remember any of this crap. So yeah, but that's about it. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys